Hey, 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 happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Tonight is Thursday, February 6th, 2020. This is episode 437 of The Daily Dope. If this is your first time popping in to catch the live show, let me point out, very, very casual, just kind of hanging out, talking about the tabletop gaming news. This will be the last episode that is mainly focused on the tabletop gaming news. So I will talk about that after the news in case you missed yesterday's show. But regardless, I'm just kind of a goofball. It's not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. We're just having some fun talking about board games and role-playing games and all tabletop gaming. And every once in a while, we talk a little PC games as well as some pop culture. Since this is a live stream, that also means there is chat available. It is on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do pay attention to chat. So I do my best to pay attention to chat. Sometimes it flies by pretty quickly. But also do want to point out that if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, maybe you've got a comment, by all means, fire away. I will do my best to respond. Be sure to give the video a quick thumbs up. The Vizio, what is a Vizio? Isn't that a TV brand from Best Buy? Give the Vizio a thumbs up, baby. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Fight those trolls out there. And of course, subscribe to the channel. If you do subscribe, ring that little bell because it will not only notify you when the stream goes live, it will also tell you when I upload new standalone videos as well. Of course, when you're not watching the videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com. for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Try to tell a friend, tell a couple of friends, help spread the word. So we've got chat cooking already. A Gray Day is in chat. The Madman has arrived as well. I will talk about the contest that is currently running. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. I know the Madman was pretty excited about what's cooking with that as well. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. So as I mentioned, today is going to mark the final episode where the entire focus is going to be on tabletop gaming. We're going to kind of switch gears a little bit starting Monday because no show tomorrow. Anyway, I was going to say we're going to switch gears starting Monday and we're going to focus more on unboxings, reviews, first looks, page throughs, things like that. Simply because doing this show for a couple of years, and now when I first started doing the show, I did both. I had news and reviews, and I'm telling you, that was just draining. So, I'll get into the details all about it after we talk about the news. So, Great Days like, contest? Yes! So Great Days like, wait a second, this is the last daily show? Well, first of all, it's not the Daily Show. That's kind of Noah's bag, not mine. And it used to be Jon Stewart's bag, not mine. Yes, this is... no, this is not the final Daily Dope. I will explain what's going on after I do the news. So, yes, I'm going to mention this today. I mentioned it yesterday. I know yesterday a lot of people had a Wednesday night gaming night. So it was a little quiet in chat. So which was fine. It was okay. It was kind of like Flaming Hero and I just kind of, carrying on. Anyway, let's jump on into the news because I've got a bit of a good variety tonight. So, first of all, there's an interesting looking tile laying game. It's on the horizon from Pencil First Games, which I am not familiar with. But here's the dope on the 100 Tori. And I'm not talking about Tori Amos because there's only one Tori Amos. This is the 100 Tori. Life's a journey, not a destination. Find your path in a beautiful Japanese garden. In the Japanese tradition, the Tori Gate marks the transition into the sacred. Travel from fountain to flowers to shrines, passing through as many Tori Gates as possible, while meeting vendors, poets, and even samurai along the way. The traveler goes through the ancient Tori Gate. Leaf falls in water. Ooh, a haiku! Oh, well. Although, strangely enough, I don't think haikus actually carry as much power in English as they probably do in Japanese. Anywho, earn the most journey points by expanding the garden and walking through as many Tori Gates as possible as you move between similar landmarks. Earn additional advantages and points by interacting with characters in the garden, such as poets, samurai, gardeners, vendors, and geishas. Hello, geishas. Maybe you'll be the first to visit each landmark 5 times, or maybe you will interact with the same character 3 times. Your journey to the most points may lead you down a different path every time. The 100 Tori is a tile placing game played over a series of turns. Each turn, the board expands and the game ends after the last tile is drawn, and each player takes one last turn. Each turn, the players take the following actions in order. They get help, which I guess is an optional move. They expand the garden, claim rewards if they earn them, and draw tiles. The 100 Tori is for 1. There's a solitaire element. 1 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays in about 45 to 60 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $39.99 when it arrives in April. Nice. Looks interesting. I wish there were more images for me to share with you. There are only a few that are floating out there from Pencil First Games. I had to actually search around to track some of this down, especially this final one that's showing the layout of the tiles. I gotta say, I am a big fan of tile laying games. Not everyone, but a lot of them. I enjoy it. I like the puzzle aspect to it. My mom just adores Carcassonne. Like, it's one of the games that stays in my car. I have a collection of games. That's why people can't ride in my back seat, because I have all these games in the back seat. Pretty funny. Anyway, I got a little Carcassonne news coming up in a little bit as well. But I thought this looked kind of interesting. It's got a nice, friendly price point as well. So, something to keep your eyes out looking for in April. Moonright Long, there is a war game that's doing extremely well for Worthington Publishing. It is on Kickstarter right now. It is actually about 650% funded. And here's the dope on Chancellorsville 1863. Chancellorsville 1863 is a card-driven game on the American Civil War battle of, you guessed it, Chancellorsville. Playable by 1 to 2 players in an hour, the game comes with a card-driven solitaire engine. Designed by Maurice Suckling, designer of Freeman's Farm 1777, the game uses many of the concepts from that game. However, added hidden movement, much more maneuver, and other design tweaks make this a truly unique game. Each turn, players will play one of their 3 in-hand formation cards to maneuver or attack enemy forces, gaining momentum cubes based on the formation activated. Each formation is a Confederate division or Union Corps. Each formation card will allow a major and possibly an additional minor activation. Major allowing 2 moves for a formation, while the minor allows 1 move. After each formation moves, combat can occur if a move ends in a location with an enemy formation. Tactic cards may be played during the formation's activation, giving it movement or combat bonuses. At the end of the formation card activation, players may spend their momentum cubes to buy tactic cards, which may give them benefits in combat or movement in future turns. Players then draw a new formation card, refilling their hands to 3. Hooker, Lee, and Jackson have bonuses that can be played once a game, adding to movement and combat. Yeah, good old Joe Hooker. Victory is determined by destroying enemy formations through morale, strength loss, or the Union occupying the 3 victory locations, which represent cutting out the Confederate Army from Richmond. There are additional rules which allow for fixed defensive positions, Jackson's flank march, and even his death. There is a short Kickstarter video from Worthington Publishing. Let's take a look.
Welcome athletes to race day. The triathlon will be starting soon. First, you will need to build up your skills and the race courses. Then you can swim, cycle and run to victory.
Chancellorsville is Chancellorsville 1863, not to be confused with Chancellorsville, which I want to say there was an Avalon Hill game. Yeah, almost positive. Chancellorsville, yes. 99.9% positive there was an old Avalon Hill game, Chancellorsville, from, I think that was from early 70s, maybe late 60s. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Chancellorsville 1863, which is from Worthington Publishing. It is for 1 or 2 players, ages, I'm guessing, 14 and up. I always say 14 and up because it's a war game. And plays in around 45 to 90 minutes. As I mentioned previously, this has reached right about the 650% Kickstarter funding mark. You can reserve a copy of the game for a $64 pledge. I believe it's going to carry an MSRP of $80 when it releases to the public. You can pledge through February 16th. Expected delivery is this October. So pretty quick turnaround. And yes, stupid me didn't queue up the right video. It's funny. I will come down here. Now, I'm down here in the Duct Tape Studios right at the last minute, within about 10 minutes before the show's going to go live, and I actually transfer files that I've been working on upstairs onto the Duct Tape Studios desktop computer. And when I come down here and I got like a lot of time on my hands, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to start getting these news pieces up so that they're ready for tomorrow when I post them on the website. Always forget something. And it's usually in the video. Like, oh, shit. I forgot to change the video here. But yes, there was audio, as the madman points out. Because I shared a video for... What game was it? There's so many games, right? The other night I shared a Kickstarter video for a game, and the first minute and a half, the music flagged me for copyright. Because what I do is I upload these videos to these small, like Kickstarter videos, to YouTube first to see if I'll get flagged. And sometimes it's I get flagged for... It's not really a copyright strike. It's just telling me that, hey, you don't really have the rights to use this music, but the person who does own the rights is going to allow you to share this music, but they're going to get all the monetization from your video. Yeah, that's whatever. That's fine. Not that big a deal. But if you get a copyright strike, that is not good. And I think you get 3 strikes and your channel is... So that is not something that I want to mess around with. So I did actually mute out the music to the video, because the video was like 3.5 minutes long, and then there were talking heads for the rest of the video. So I just left it like that. But everybody's like, what's going on, man? There's no audio. What's wrong? There's no sound. And I had mentioned before I played the video, I said, there's no sound for the first minute and a half. It just goes to show how often people out there pay attention to me when they're watching the stream live. Yeah, I see how it works. All right, so Flaming Huron has popped into chat. A Great A mentions that, yes, Avalon Hill did first and second editions of Chancellorsville 1961 and 74. I remember the 70s one. If I remember, didn't Avalon Hill release... Wasn't Gettysburg... Wasn't it 1963 to mark the 100th anniversary, or did it come out earlier? Somebody told me that Avalon Hill had released that in the 50s, but I don't think so. I gotta be honest, I don't know every little thing about every single Avalon Hill game that ever came out, especially a lot of their later stuff before they kind of went belly up. Anyway, so good deal, yes. So yes, the madman causing trouble. You're not causing trouble mentioning no audio. It wasn't that big a deal. All right, moving right along. It's Thursday. So that means there are free games, or a free game, over at the Epic Games Store. This week, the freebies should be of notice to board gamers out there, because there are a trio... Oh, wait, no. There are a duo, and I'll explain why, of Asmodee Digital releases that are available absolutely free. And first off, we've got Carcassonne. Wait, that's up. Dummy. There we go. Yep. See, I'm moving around and jumping around, rather than talking over, some images of something we're not even talking about anymore. A Great A says 1958 for Gettysburg. There we go. Okay, cool deal. But they did have a 100-year anniversary edition that came out. I do know that for a fact. Anyway, so first we got Carcassonne. Here's the dope. A tile placement game of creating landscapes, claiming areas, and gaining points. Carcassonne is a modern classic tile placement game based on the award-winning game in which the players draw and place a tile with a piece of southern French landscape on it. The tile might feature a city, a road, a cloister, grassland, or some combination thereof. And it must be placed adjacent to tiles that have already been played in such a way that cities are connected to cities, roads to roads, etc. The players then decide to place one of their followers, so-called meeples, on one of the areas on it. On the city as a knight, on the road as a robber, on a cloister as a monk, or on the grass as a farmer. When that area is complete, That meeple scores points for its owner. Each new game is a new experience, thanks to the ever-changing landscape. During a game of Carcassonne, players are faced with decisions like, is it really worth putting my last meeple there? Or should I use this tile to expand my city, or should I place it near my opponent instead, making it harder for them to complete their goal and score points? Since players place only one tile and have the option to place one meeple on it, turns proceed quickly, even if it's a game full of options and possibilities. Then also absolutely free is Ticket to Ride, the official adaptation of Days of Wonder's best-selling train game. Ticket to Ride takes less than 1 minute to learn. I don't know if it takes less than a minute to learn, but a lifetime to master. Over 70 million games played online, and a new game starts every 4 seconds on average. Connect more than just cities. Set off with your friends and family to discover or rediscover Ticket to Ride, the classic board game. In this railway adventure, you'll need to be the quickest to link up your cities and reach your destinations. Both of these digital PC titles are absolutely free through 10 a.m. It just says 10 a.m. I think it might be Pacific. 10 a.m. February 13th. Next up is Kingdom Come Deliverance, which I've heard really good things about. It's kind of a first-person RPG, as well as the smash 'em up fighting game Aztec. This will be the 2 releases next week for free. So anyway, so you've got Ticket to Ride, you got Carcassonne, both are available, absolutely free to download. There was a third title that was announced last week that was going to be part of the mix. That's changed. And it was supposed to be Pandemic. And from my understanding, in fact, even if you go to the Epic Games Store, you will not find Pandemic for sale. You can even go, if you go on Google, you can search Pandemic Epic Games. You'll get a link, but you're going to get a 404 error when you get there. Reason being, with this coronavirus, there have been some odd people who have really been buying up a lot of copies of Plague Inc., which is another PC game in which you actually play a virus trying to wipe out humanity and things like that. I've seen it. I've never played it. I really don't. Not necessarily my bag of tricks. But the fine folks over at Epic Games, as well as Asmodee Digital, thought, a little poor taste right now to actually have Pandemic as a freebie. So they are planning on offering that for free sometime in the future, and it is not on sale. As I mentioned, they've taken it down from the Epic Games Store. So kind of cool, kind of kudos to them as far as that. Because yeah, you gotta be an oddball if you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting into this. Unless, I mean, maybe you want to see, people sick and a big pandemic sweep across the world. I personally do not. Then again, my driveway goes all the way down to the street. Some people's do not. It's an old line we used to use all the time. Captain Trips! The Kabuki Kid mentions, it's right, The Stand. My favorite Stephen King book, which is kind of funny. How would you like to be Stephen King and have all these, and have written all these books, right? And all these people keep coming up to you telling you that their favorite book is one that you wrote and released, I think, what was it, 78? Something like that is when The Stand came out. Love that book. In fact, I actually read the expanded edition that, because I guess Stephen King's publisher had made him trim like 300 or 400 pages from The Stand, which when it first came out, it's 800 and some pages, if I remember right. So here it was like 1,200 and some pages. I read that one. I read that one too. I don't get a chance to read it as often as I used to. I used to read it every couple of years. But I do try to bust out the audiobook from time to time because they did a really nice job with the audiobook for that. So Kabuki Kid says, yeah, 78 sounds about right. Yeah, I think it was about 78 because when I was in about 5th grade, so where I went to school, I went to grammar school and high school in Chicago. We didn't have middle schools or anything like that. We didn't have junior high. That's kind of a suburban thing, and it's actually more of a suburban thing around here now. Back when I was in high school, it was everybody had grammar school, high school. That's what it was basically in Illinois. And I was in about 5th or 6th grade, and I'm reading like Salem's Lot, Carrie. The other kids are reading Nancy Drew, Hardy Boys. So, can I tell you? I used to spend summer afternoons kicking it, especially when it was like lousy weather, rain or something like that. Kicking it on the front porch, reading, and I could go through 2-3 books in a day. And we're not talking like Stand. Talking about, 300-400 page books. I could crank through pretty well. And Kabuki Kid points out, yes, the miniseries was good. Yes, it was actually pretty good. The Stand is no longer getting a movie adaptation. That has been pulled. It is going to get a television miniseries. I forget. I'm trying to remember who picked it up. But yes, the movie is not going to happen. I'm almost positive. Which is pretty strange because they pulled the plug on the Dark Tower series. Amazon did after they saw the pilot. They said, no. So, anyway, so I'm pretty sure that The Stand is no longer going to be a trilogy of movies. It is going to be a series. So, anyway, that's what I had heard. I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing them up. But I do know for a fact that the Dark Tower Amazon series is kaput. All right, moving right along. Let's talk a little bit about role-playing games. Because there's a new bundle of holding that's out. Features End Publishing, who actually have a website now, amazingly enough. How long have they been publishing role-playing games? About decade now. They finally actually have a website, endpublishing.com. Cool deal. Because when I share news pieces on the website, I'm always at a loss of like where to send people. So I always am like, yeah, I just got to drive through RPG, I guess. Anywho, there is a new bundle of holding. I got the dope. Listen up, citizens. You are the law of Mega City 1. In this Judge Dredd and More bundle, featuring PDF ebooks of the tabletop role-playing game Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD, and other What's Old is New games and supplements from N Publishing. Wine, What's Old is New, is a crunchy tactical system for adventurers in many settings, such as the worlds of the long-running British comic 2000 AD and its most popular character, Judge Dredd. This all-new bargain-priced collection brings you N Publishing's Judge Dredd RPG line, the now modern action rules, and more. For just $7.95, you get all 4 titles in this offer's starting collection. Retail value $38 as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Now, the modern action role-playing game rulebook, and 3 What's Old is New campaign settings and adventures. Dark Decade, From Dusk to Dawn, supernatural horror in 1980s New York City. Spirits of Manhattan, Who You Gonna Call? And Santiago, a myth of the far future, based on the 1980 novel by the late Mike Resnick. And if you pay more than this offer's threshold price of $22.41, you'll level up and also get this offer's entire bonus collection with 4 more titles worth an additional $50, including the full color 274-page Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD standalone core rulebook, plus the print and play counters and the free Judge Dredd Quick Start along with the Robot Wars source book, which is, I think it's a source book / adventure, and the Judge Dredd GM screen. This bundle will be available through February 26th, and 10% of your payment after payment gateway fees will be donated to this offer's designated charity, the Rainforest Trust. Sweet. Very, very nice. Judge Dredd is in the worlds of 2000 AD is pretty recent. That is that's a pretty new game. I think it came out within about the last year or so. So, kind of cool bundle, and not too pricey, although strangely enough, it is named after Judge Dredd, but you don't get the Judge Dredd PDFs unless you go to the second level. So it's kind of like, But I am not familiar with what's old is new or the now system either from N Publishing. It is supposed to be pretty crunchy, but I don't know how crunchy it actually is as far as RPGs. Because I think some people kind of overreact to complexity in rule books. So, there was some discussion about the various different Stephen King books. Yes, his collection of short stories. The Night Shift. You got, I think Kabuki Kid is right. I think it was originally published as, the story is Graveyard Shift, isn't it? I don't know. I forget. Then you got different seasons. I remember reading that one. That is the one that's got, the one that they made the movie with, Anthony Hopkins. Hearts in Atlantis? I believe that was it. I think. Anyway. So Fleming Heron points out about the bundle of holding. It's like, yeah, the bonus stuff is probably what you want most. It's still only like 22 and change, so not too bad. It's a pretty good deal. I do actually like that bundle. So I always share, news that I think is worth sharing. I don't just share stuff for the. Yep. So it's like, I got time to kill. What am I gonna fill time with? Anyway, final news piece. There is a new adventure that is available. It fits in very nicely with this month's holiday. It's available in PDF from Frog God Games, and I've got the dope on. For the Love of Valentine. A chance encounter connects your party with a charismatic prophet on the lam and the woman who loves him. Congratulations! You've stumbled into an epic clash of religions, and you may or may not be on the winning side of that conflict. Sure, you have love on your side, but they have soldiers, power, and maybe something more. Delivering your guy to safety means winding your way through a crowded city, celebrating a raucous festival of fertility, and a race through the countryside where all is not as it seems. For the Love of Valentine takes your first to third level characters and their NPC charges through a land in turmoil while being hunted by the law, and perhaps something darker? Inspired by the tales of Saint Valentine and the ancient legends of Lupercalia? I think it's Lupercalia. I don't know. I've never heard of it. Of course, I know Saint Valentine, but I don't know anything about Lupercalia. Anyway, will your players ultimately have to answer the question, will love triumph? The 30-page PDF is available for your choice: Swords and Wizardry, Pathfinder 1st Edition, or 5th Edition Dungeons and Dragons. It is in PDF over at Drive-Thru-RPG for $10. Cool beans. So I like role-playing game adventures that sort of bring in, the holidays, stuff like that. As Viper Dave has popped in, good to see. Viper Dave, yes, the library policeman, to make sure you return your overdue library books. Interestingly enough, speaking of libraries, I have a friend of mine. I think I've mentioned before. Sometimes I go over and there's a game night. It's the Pattersons. So one of my friends, Winona, she's actually a librarian, and they're trying to get like tabletop gaming going at their library in the Chicago suburbs. And might let them pick my brain a little bit. So anyway, but I love the fact that people don't think about libraries, but there are still a lot of people who go to the library, and there are a lot of people who depend on libraries. Just think of the people who are homebound, and there are services that libraries deliver and drop off and pick up books for them. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a wonderful thing. So, anyway, as Pinky has rolled down, yes, Pinky, I see you. I hear you too. What a goofball. So we've got. Looks like we got somebody popping into chat. I have no idea what they're talking about. Switch trailer. I don't know. Anyway, so I need to actually get some of the folks who hang out watching the show to give them, somehow set them up so they can moderate chat. Because lately we have had, we usually don't have any problems, but we have had a couple of people recently who are kind of like, what? Anyway, so, so I have no, and it's like Burb Boy. I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea what that message was supposed to mean. So, I figured I'll just get rid of it. Anyway, so that is it for tonight's news. If you missed yesterday's show, I was talking about it, and of course, if you follow me on Twitter or even on Facebook, which that's a waste of time. Facebook, it's like they don't share any posts with any people who like your page. They share less than 5%. So I just post the show link. That's it. That's all I do. I don't post any of the news anymore to Facebook. Anyway, but if you do follow me, you do know that I had kind of floated out that I was considering wrapping up the Daily Dope at episode 450. Now, tonight we are at episode 437. So it's a lot. It's over 2 years. But what I'm going to do is, starting on Monday, there will be no show tomorrow. I'm going to try to maybe tweak some stuff down here in the Duct Tape Studios, especially the audio. I want to try to get a much bassier sound. So, anyway, but I don't know how well that's going to work. What I'm going to do starting Monday is we are going to, because there was a point in time where I did the news and I also did unboxings and reviews, page throughs of role-playing games, stuff like that. Problem was, the people who were tuning in for the news really didn't care about the games. Not all of them, but they're kind of like, you're sharing a war game, Jeff. I'm not a war gamer, right? That kind of stuff. Or sharing a role-playing game, Jeff. I don't play role-playing games. So, there's a little disconnect there. So what I'm going to do starting on Monday is I'm going to share maybe one or two news pieces. We're not going to do like a half hour or 40 minutes of news. Because the other thing was the people who were actually tuning in who wanted to see the review or what have you, they're sitting around a half hour before I'd even get into it. So what I'm planning on doing is just do maybe one or two news pieces, something that really stands out to me. Maybe some days we won't do any news. But I'm going to do focus on the Daily Dope is going to be first looks, unboxings, reviews. I'm a little concerned that I may not have enough stuff to actually get me through So, don't know what to tell you. We'll see. We'll find out. Anyway, so Fleming Human's like, yeah, random commenters. That's why I don't stream on Twitch. When I first started doing the show, I streamed on both YouTube and Twitch, and I would get these people popping in on Twitch because it's the Daily Dope, and they thought it was a show about drugs. Which, hey, man, you know, if you enjoy that stuff, that's fine. Knock yourself out. Just, you know, don't get busted. Don't hurt anybody else with it, right? But it was kind of like, no, it's this. The Daily Dope is like the news. That's the dope. Okay, all right. So Kabuki Kid's like wrapping up at 4:50. Well, no, we're not necessarily gonna wrap up at 4:50. Kabuki Kid's laughing. Yeah, drug news channel. Yeah, that's what they thought it was. Which it was like, oh, no. Okay, sorry, man. And like I said, I was fine. There were a couple of people who were kind of bizarre. But for the most part, on YouTube, I have not had, like, someone get on chat. Now watch, now I say this. It's going to, like, make somebody decide to do this, which is okay, because I'll just, you know, delete them off. But I would get some kind of oddball stuff, like commenters on Twitch, and it was a little weird. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not a Twitch streamer guy. So Flaming Heron says, well, next week looks interesting. Just open old games, see if anyone catches on. I don't have one of those shrink wrap machines, right? Be opening stuff up and everything's punched, and I'd be like, what the hell is this? What's going on with this? It's supposed to be an unboxing. Anyway, so a Great A says, I see Wizard's Quest in the background on the shelf. For some reason, Wizard's Quest, Dan from No Enemies Here is sort of like, I want that game. It's sort of like, have you ever played that game? It's really not that good. It's really not. I don't know. In fact, I want to say I got that on eBay. Now, this is quite a while ago. It's got to be about 10 years ago, to be honest. I got that, I think it was like $5. So, it's not necessarily in the greatest shape. Anyway, it's been a long time. So, I mean, I don't know. A very, very long time since I played it. Just like Avalon Hill, as far as like some games that I had kind of rose-colored glasses about looking back on. One was Gunslinger, which I remember was we had a blast playing it. And then I got it, and that is not an easy game to get your hands on. And I was kind of like, wow, this is actually not as good as I remember. Neither is Circus Maximus. That's another title I seem to recall as, you know, a 14-year-old. We were like, wow, this game's really good. And then I got it. I'm like, it's not as good as I recall. But, you know, things change. Anyway, so next week on Monday's show, I am going to share how to play and review Oceans. Kind of move out of the way to get the box in the shot here. This is from North Star Games, or as they are referring to themselves now, North Star Games Studio. Says that on the box. I don't know. So I will share a how to play and my review on Tuesday's show. This box is huge. This box reminds me of the massive Thunderstone Quest box. The cube, as I refer to it. We're going to actually take a first look at Emphriel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Spells and Steam, which is from Level 99 Games. This is a pretty hefty box here. I'm going to show you the back a little bit. So I know absolutely nothing about this game. I do believe that I think it carries an MSRP around $100. So that will be on Tuesday. Wednesday, I will be sharing how to play and reviewing Escape from Hades, which is designed by my pal Fred Manzo with game development by my other pal Herman Lettman. This is actually a Hollandspiel release. First game I actually have ever reviewed for Hollandspiel. Thursday show, I will be reviewing Chult. Yes, I know. I kept joking around. It's Chult. And I guess people weren't getting the joke. Whatever. It's a role-playing game. I can pronounce this stuff however I want. It's not real words. So, anyway, I will be reviewing this. That'll be on Thursday's show. And then on Friday's show, I will share how to play and review Thieves' Den, which is from Daily Magic Games. I did a preview video when this went to Kickstarter, and now I effectively reviewed it. But I will share a review of the finished product. Do want to point out, do not expect so many reviews in a week on the show. I'm going to try to do maybe 2-3 reviews, but we shall find out. We'll see what's going on. Also, another thing to point out, that these games are subject to change because, as an example, what the third most viewed, it's either, no, maybe it's the second most viewed video all time in the 8 years I've been doing video, I'm putting it up on YouTube, is my first look at the last Dungeons and Dragons source book that came out. So if something like that shows up in the mail, it's gonna be like first look that night. We're taking a look at it that night. So I don't expect it. The next D&D book coming out isn't until March, and I still don't know what's going on with Paizo either. But I will actually have the character manual for Starfinder. What is it? I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's upstairs. The operations manual, like character operations manual. I'll have a review for that after next week. So anyway, I got enough stuff lined up. We're gonna be good for a couple of weeks. So we're gonna see how that goes as far as the views. Because you figure I've been doing the Daily Dope for more than 2 years. I launched it, I did a test video in the end of December of 2017. So 2018, 2019, now we're into 2020, and 80 views a show. Sometimes we crack 100. Just not a lot of views, folks. So, a lot of effort goes into the show. And I know, and like Dan from No Enemies here is like, well, we got like a little family going. And I get it. I love having people hanging out and chat and stuff like that. Problem is, it's just a very little family. It is very little. So, anywho. So, Hubcam210 is in chat. Jorge Rodriguez popped in as well. I did already say hi to Viper Dave, I do believe. I think Viper Dave had popped in. Yep, there we go. So, some discussion. Looking forward to Chult. Still have it on my wish list. Gotta be honest. I like it. I think it's cool. I think it pisses a lot of people off, depending on where you stand politically. I mean, I say it all the time. I'm left of center. I know people are like, wait a second, but you really love war games and stuff like that. Yeah, I know. That does not necessarily make me a Republican. I love history. But once again, I'm also not one of these people who your political views define who you are in my eyes. I come from a time when we could agree to disagree, and we really did. And it's like, okay. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are in the gaming industry who are big supporters of the president. I have no problem with that. I just don't happen to be that. Anyway, but there's some stuff in Chult it seems more aimed at kind of pissing off the lefties as opposed to actually being gameable material. And I find a little bit of an issue with it, but you will find overall it will be a positive review. We'll talk about it next week. All right. Anyway, so Jorge Rodriguez says, even though I don't come and chat often, I still like this. Jorge mentions that they're driving during the stream. You're not the only one who actually follows the show while you're commuting. There are some folks who actually catch this on their way home from work. It's cool. Hey, very cool. Anyway, so Fleming Heron says, yeah, I'm a history buff too. Love any conflict games just for the historical components. Yep. Within reason. I mean, there have been some war games over the years where I was kind of like, come on, like anybody who like tries to put together a Vietnam game, it's like strategic level Vietnam, and it's like, oh well, the U.S. just can drop nukes and win the game. It doesn't. I've talked about that before, and people are like, well, there was a plan for that. Yeah, there was a plan for it. There's been plans for a lot of things. There was plans about going to war with Great Britain, in the 30s and 40s. Didn't happen. Anyway, so final thing I do want to point out, there is a contest. I announced it on last night's show. There's 3 ways to win in this contest. So first off, I'm celebrating hitting 2,100 viewers, or subscribers, I should say, on the Gaming Gang channel, which is kind of funny because it's like YouTube just kind of like takes a few away, gives you a few back, takes a few away, gives you a few back. So right now, after announcing this contest, it's like 2,101 subscribers. But there are 4 different role-playing game PDFs that are available to win. I'm going to give away a grand total of 8 prizes. And you can choose which one you want. It's not like, oh, well, you got to take this. So, up for grabs will be the Alien role-playing game from Free League Publishing. Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, which just came out, I want to say it was last week, from Modiphius Entertainment. Another new one, Fate of Cthulhu, which is from Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Or the Expanse role-playing game from Green Ronin Publishing, which Sammy, who does my PDF RPG reviews, loves. So, those 4 games are up for grabs. So I'm going to provide 3 copies to YouTube subscribers who are subscribers who comment on a video between now and when I go live on Friday, February 14th. And also they have to thumb up the video, that give a like to the video that they leave a comment on. I am going to give away 3 copies to people who follow me on Twitter. They need to like and retweet the contest tweet. They also have to be a follower of @thegaminggang on Twitter. Sometimes, for some strange reason, people on Twitter just don't follow the rules for contests. I don't know. I can't twist everybody's arm to try to give them free stuff. Anyway, so that is the other angle. And then finally, I will give 2 copies, once again, your choice of the 4, to live viewers on the Friday, February 14th episode. So that will be the episode that we will be taking a look at, and I will be reviewing Thieves' Den from Daily Magic Games. All right, so anywho, so that is the contest. So not too shabby, pretty sweet. And once again, as I mentioned, try to make it where you pick what you win. You just, you choose which one you want to win if you're a winner, and it's all good. So good variety of different stuff. So we've got, we got the little bit of the fantasy, we got the 5e with Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, we got the Alien RPG, we got Fate of Cthulhu, so pretty cool. So Jorge asks, do I like the Punic Wars? I can't say I like the Punic Wars. But I have listened to quite a few audiobooks as well as lecture series about the ancient world. And I have not really played too many Ancient Warfare games. Now, granted, I have played Commands and Colors Ancients, which is fun. I like that. It's light, right? But yeah, I get a kick out of that. I get a kick out of Roman history as well. So anyway, yeah, so the 14th is a long weekend. So Flaming Huron says, certainly can't complain about lack of choice. No. Other thing I'm going to try to do is try to get more giveaways with stuff that I do reviews of too. I have never been big on asking for that kind of stuff. I'm gonna be better at that, because there are loads of people out there I see on like Twitter, and it's like, I've got 100 followers and I'm giving away a copy of this. It's like, what? How the hell did you score a copy of that to give away as a promo? So anyway, so Kabuki Kid says, with war games, I'm often stuck on World War II. That would happen to me a lot too, especially back in the day when I was in high school and we would have new stuff coming out from Avalon Hill. It seemed like my friends were always picking up the World War II stuff, because it seems like that was a lot of what was coming out. Plus, I remember The Longest Day from Avalon Hill. I'm not sure how many of you out there have seen that. Huge box. I mean, massive box. I always joke around that it was the longest day of gaming. I cannot possibly imagine anyone completing that. I'm not into big monster war games. When I see people who are out at the Consim Expo out in Tempe, which I have gone to, especially when I lived out in Arizona, and they sit down at a monster game and they play for a week, and they play for like 8-10 hours a day at least, and then the week's over and they still haven't come to a completion of that game. I can't do that stuff. I mean, I can do an entire afternoon playing a game. That's about where I can push it to now. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. As I mentioned, no show tomorrow. I will be back on Monday, and we will kind of do a little bit of a new format. So I can't say that things are going to look a lot different, but the format will be a little bit different. And of course, I do have the camera set up for the overhead shots. It's almost above my head. In fact, sometimes I get up from finishing up the show and smack my head on the camera. I'm a dope, can I tell you? All right, there's another reason why this is the Daily Dope. I think longtime viewers know that. All right, anyway, that is it for tonight's show. As I like to point out, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Fight those trolls out there. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. If you do, don't forget, ring that little bell, because it will not only notify you of when the Daily Dope goes live, for most people within a moment or two, some people hours later. I have nothing to do with that. But it'll also inform you when standalone videos get uploaded as well. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at gaminggang.com. Everybody have a great weekend. Have a very safe weekend as well. For those of you who hung out and chat, thank you very much. Always appreciate that. Just because the format's changing, I hope you'll still swing by and hang out with me. But if you watch after the fact, say even on Memorex, I got a place in my heart for you folks too. And of course, I will be back on Monday. Until then, happy trails, everybody. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.